You know that feeling when you open your banking app and, instead of closing it in panic, you realize you're okay. Maybe you even smile. It's when you stop doing mental math to figure out whether you can buy a coffee. When going to the grocery store doesn't automatically mean you'll be eating ramen for the rest of the week. There's a specific number where that shift tends to happen. And it's not the number most people think. Most financial gurus will tell you that you only feel rich once you hit $1 million. Others claim that earning 6 figures a year is the magic line. But there's something important that almost all of them miss. There's a much smaller milestone that completely changes your relationship with money. And once you reach it, things start working differently. That number is $20,000. My name is Thomas, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people seem to build wealth with relative ease, while others stay trapped in the same financial patterns for decades. If you want to understand how wealth building actually works, instead of just hoping, things will magically get better, then it's worth sticking with me. Before I explain why $20,000 is such a massive turning point, let me ask you something. When you think about getting rich, what comes to mind? Maybe you picture someone born into a wealthy family who never had to worry about money. Or maybe you imagine someone grinding for years, slowly stacking dollars one at a time. The truth is, wealth building doesn't work the way most people believe it does. Here's what actually happens. There are financial thresholds like invisible barriers. Once you cross them, the rules of the game change completely. $20,000 is the first major threshold. It separates people who have a real shot at building meaningful wealth from those who will likely spend their entire lives living paycheck to paycheck. And the most interesting part is that most people don't even realize this threshold exists. Think of it like this. If you've ever tried to push a massive boulder up a hill, you know the hardest part is getting it moving. You're straining, sweating, barely making progress, and starting to wonder if it's even possible. But once you build enough momentum, something almost magical happens. The boulder starts moving faster and, when it finally reaches the top, it rolls down the other side on its own. $20,000 is that turning point. Everything before it feels like you're fighting gravity. Everything after it feels like gravity starts working for you. And here's the part that's genuinely interesting and probably surprising. The difference isn't just math. It's not simply that you have more money to invest or that your returns are bigger in absolute terms. The real shift happens in your brain. When you don't have money saved, your mind runs in what psychologists would call survival mode. Every financial decision gets filtered through fear and scarcity. You take the first job offer that shows up even if it's bad because you can't afford to be selective. You stay in situations you hate because leaving feels too risky. You say yes to things you don't want to do because you need the money. This isn't only about being practical or responsible. When you're in survival mode, your brain literally can't focus on growth and opportunity. It's like trying to plan a vacation while your house is on fire. But something remarkable happens when you cross the $20,000 threshold. All of a sudden, your mind has room to think differently. Instead of asking, "How do I survive until the next paycheck?" you start asking, "How do I grow this money?" You stop reacting to constant financial emergencies and start acting strategically. Research from Vanguard shows that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases financial well-being by 21%. $2,000, less than what many people spend on a vacation or a high-end laptop. That small buffer creates a huge psychological shift because it pulls you out of pure survival mode. And when that emergency fund grows to something like 3 to 6 months of living expenses, which for most people ends up somewhere around $20,000, there's another 13% boost in financial well-being. But the most important part isn't the percentage. It's the mental space you create to think about building wealth instead of just avoiding damage. Now, let's talk about the math, because this is where things start to accelerate. Imagine you're saving $1,000 per month and earning an average return of 8% per year. To reach your first $20,000, it takes about 19 months of discipline, consistency, Sacrifice. It isn't easy. And, honestly, most people quit somewhere along the way. But here's the part that surprises almost everyone. Your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months. It takes about 17 months. Because now you have your first $20,000 working alongside your monthly contributions. You did the exact same work, saved the same amount, took the same risk, and yet you cut 2 full months off the timeline simply because you had more money working for you. That's compound interest beginning to show itself. By the time you're going for your third $20,000, the timeline shrinks even more. Your money starts doing a bigger and bigger share of the heavy lifting. And when you reach larger numbers, the acceleration starts to feel ridiculous. With an investment portfolio of $400,000, your next $20,000 can be generated in about 5 months from returns alone. The same amount that took nearly 2 years to build at the beginning now shows up almost automatically. You might think wealthy people have access to secret investments, exclusive funds, or opportunities regular people can't touch. And while some of that exists at the very top, that's not what explains this phenomenon. The secret is much simpler. It's basic math finally working in your favor. If you invest $1,000 and earn 10%, you make $100. If you invest $10,000 at the same return, you make $1,000. Same risk, same time, same investment. The difference is the size of the base. That's why $20,000 feels like such a turning point. Before that, returns feel insignificant. After that, they start to feel like real progress. A 10% return on $2,000 is $200. Nice, but not life-changing. A 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. Now we're talking about money that actually matters. With $20,000 invested, earning 8% per year, that's about $1,600 per year showing up without you having to work for it. And the most interesting part is that the investment strategy doesn't change. You can use the same funds, the same brokerages, the same basic principles. The only difference is scale. But here's what might be the most important point in the entire video. When you save $20,000, you build something more valuable than money. You build identity. To reach that number from zero, you have to develop real discipline. You track spending. You say no to immediate desires. You resist impulses. And above all, you stay consistent for months, sometimes years. You prove something fundamental to yourself. You can control your money instead of letting it control you. That shift affects every decision you make after that. Before, a $4 coffee might have required mental gymnastics. Afterward, you don't get lost in small details because you know your priorities are in order. You start seeing opportunities instead of threats. Unexpected expenses stop being disasters. Your car breaks down? Annoying. Your laptop dies. Replaceable. Rent goes up. Negotiable. You start considering investments, career changes, strategic decisions. That's what people mean when they say money attracts money. It isn't mysticism. It's options. The same thing happens at work. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're trapped. You don't negotiate. You don't push back. You don't take risks. With $20,000 saved, you gain something powerful. The ability to walk away. And ironically, the less you need to use that power, the stronger it becomes. You become more confident, more assertive. And that changes how people see you. The mistake a lot of people make is treating that money like a reward. They buy a new car, take an expensive trip, blow the foundation. Don't do that. That $20,000 isn't a prize. It's a base. When you understand opportunity cost, you start making better decisions. A $30,000 car isn't just $30,000. It's money that could become more than $200,000 over 20 years invested. Suddenly, driving a simple car doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like strategy. $20,000 won't make you rich overnight, but it will completely change how you think, how you act, and how you decide. It's the difference between surviving and building, between reacting and planning. Start there. Your future self will thank you.